Hmm. Interesting. So apparently, according to the top fans settings, I can set up super chats. I thought you'd need to have a lot more subs um than what I have to do that, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Just gonna do a thought I would do a stream because that's pretty much all I do now, right? Hope people aren't getting too tired of it. Uh I'm not much. I'm not really good at planning things. I'm pretty much a spur of the moment kind of guy, which is why streaming is better for me. Well, it might not actually be better for me, but it's better for me on a personal level. I'm just not a planner. Never have been. Uh, so hopefully that's not a big deal for people. Uh, you'll also you've also noticed that I'm not really good at speaking without other people. Which probably makes me a bad streamer, but hey, it is what it is, right? Um, Also, apologies for that car alarm in the background. If anybody can hear that, I have no way of influencing that, but yeah, hopefully it's not that big of a deal. Alrighty. Well, I saw somebody gave a like. I'm not sure if they're still around, but thank you for that. Uh, Very much appreciated. Um, I don't know if I'll be going for as long as I had yesterday. That was what? That was like 2 hours and maybe 20 minutes, if not close to it. Uh, I'm not sure how long of a stream people like to sit through. Uh, so, you know, but we'll go as long as there are conversations here. Hey there, psychotic. How it goes? Uh, Consider leaving a like. Um, it helps the stream, helps the channel in general. Um, yes, that is my cat, who I have not fed yet. It's no laughing matter. It's just one of those things. I guess my plan for now will be getting to 200 subs. Hopefully, by next month, at the very least. But if the content is not adequate, then no one's gonna sub. So there's that. There are plans to start a new channel. It will be a collaboration channel. Um, it's not set up yet, but it's in the planning stages. And it's basically going to be a debate channel. It's going to be run by me and someone else, mainly. But the idea is that pretty much anyone well, not literally, well, no, I guess anyone can, uh, can join in and, be part of the discussion and give a potentially different perspective on things. And we're gonna try to do it at least once a week. We'll probably do it via Zoom and then upload it to YouTube once it's done. And it's not gonna be. We're thinking that it's not gonna be politics. It's gonna be other stuff. We'll have a different topic each week. So, and hopefully that'll start next week. My real hope is that it ends up getting more views and subs than this channel uh that I have currently, and that, if people like it enough, maybe they'll want to check this one out. Um, it's funny how I'm so much better at having group discussions than I am doing it solo. I've just never been particularly good at talking basically to myself, which is what I'm doing, which is what I end up doing in streams. Hey, Strawberry, how goes? To anyone subbed here, if you're interested in that second channel that's in the works, well, I'm sure there's a way that I can link it to this one somehow. But yeah. I was also considering starting a brand new solo channel because I think I kind of messed up with this one. I didn't have a clear goal in mind. And I know, people might say, well, you're gaining subs almost every single stream. You're close to 140 at the moment. Why wouldn't you just keep it up? And that's a fair point, but I feel like I just have this feeling that I'm not doing enough. Hey, is it Triox? How's it going? Please consider leaving a like, to help get the word out about the stream. I guess you can share, with people if you want to, but it's basically just a person talking about random nonsense for however long, so I'm not sure if people would be interested in that. I don't like to ask people for likes because I don't feel that I have anything to offer that's deserving of likes. I mean, heck, I also don't believe that I'm deserving of having, even though it's never going to be 100 people watching. I honestly don't believe that I'm deserving of 100 subs, but here we are at almost 140. Which is pretty crazy. Yes, I know. A person might say 100 something's not that much. If it was 1,000, I could or more, I could see. Well, I'm a nobody. Nobodies don't usually expect to even have three people talking with them from outside of their general vicinity. So, but how are we doing, people? Got anything interesting planned for today? I suspect there's probably a lot of people working, but I wouldn't know since I haven't had a job in a long time. Um, Seriously, how did people get that fans thing? What's the deal with that? I've never seen that before. Is it something new? Okay. I appreciate that, Strawberry. It's going. No, and we're not gonna have any talk like that here. If I could figure out how to ban this guy, I would, but I can't seem to do that through my phone. So we'll just do this. There you go. Not gonna tolerate any chatter about a monster like that here. You're lucky I can't ban you. Or can't figure out how to. I don't stand for that nonsense. You gotta be better than that. It's not funny. You don't know how many people he's harmed, how many people he's. The nerve of people bringing up a name like that in a chat. Not to mention somebody who's no longer alive. Oh no 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 no! Not you, Strawberry. Somebody was talking about Jeffrey Epstein, and I'm not gonna tolerate somebody like that being discussed here. Just not going to. It's foul to even mention that name. Yeah, Anybody wants to play around and try to say something positive about that disgusting excuse for a human being? They can leave. I can't figure. I can't figure out how to ban people on my phone. Otherwise, I would do that. And it's not an opinion. It's a fact that if you support a monster like that in any way, you do not deserve to be here. Oh, I try, but I've never been good at ignoring people. You see, I'm a pretty angry person, and I'm somewhat of a nihilist. I don't know if being a nihilist has anything to do with that, but yeah, I'm very easily it's very easy to get under my skin. Um, and I know people would say, well, you shouldn't let it bother you, but I'm just not. I've just never been capable of letting stuff like that roll over. Uh, it's one thing to be an opinionated jerk. It's another thing entirely to be somebody who's intentionally causing harm to others. I can defend somebody who's being a jerk because they're not necessarily, morally bankrupt. But yeah, ugh, did not need to see that name here. Maybe if we had a different president, it wouldn't have bothered me so much. But we don't. We have scumbag's best buddy. I'm supposed to go to a dinner later today that I'm considering not going to. And you might think this is silly, but you see, I have very bad anxiety, paranoia, and other things. And certain things trigger it and make it worse. I didn't realize this until last month. My friend wanted to have a birthday dinner at Friendly's, and one of the people there, who was with us, decides to play a clip of Donald Trump speaking. Now, I was surprised because this has never happened to me before. Upon hearing his voice, I almost had a panic attack. I could feel myself breathing heavy. It felt like I was going to pass out. I couldn't tell you why that's the case, but that's just how my mind reacts to that stuff. So, that person is apparently going to this birthday dinner that's gonna happen today, and I'm wondering if I should even go. Because it seems like just mentioning that name could cause me to potentially pass out from extreme anxiety. If anybody here's ever seen The Sopranos, you might remember Tony Soprano would every so often uh, have panic attacks and fall over, and I've been lucky to have never experienced one of those things myself, but I've gotten close. Everything will get blurry. Uh, the room will spin. Yeah, that's a good point. It could also be dehydration or not being hydrated enough. I've been trying to work on getting my weight under control. I was 200 pounds. I'm now in the one. The scale says I'm like 175 or 6. So I've lost over 20 pounds, which is great, but I still need to lose at least 30, at least 20 more before I think I'm going to start feeling 100%. Um, but yeah, it hasn't been easy. I mean, it hasn't been super hard, but I also haven't been losing enough. So yeah. Also, Z, how come you're? I thought I modded you, or did I mod your other channel? He might not be here anymore. Yeah, I know it sounds super silly that the man of the person who's currently in charge of things here would cause me such problems on an emotional and psychological level, but here we are. Now, it also should be noted that I'm a very anxious person generally. So other people who don't have those, shall we say, difficulties won't be affected by any of this, or it'll just be minor frustration. And I'm a little bit envious of those people. You know, they can see something and just brush it off. But hey, it is what it is. Can't do anything about it. I mean, I can, but my psychologist is not being particularly helpful in this area. Okay. Oh yeah, very much so. And I am a hothead. It might not come across here, but I am a hothead. All it takes is certain words or certain acts, and I explode. Um, I used to, not all the time, but when I was younger, and what I mean by younger is when I was much younger. I was born on November 1988. But when I was much younger, not again, not trying to suggest that I'm old, even though I sometimes feel old. I would occasionally pick a fight with someone. It didn't actually happen. I would basically verbally call someone out or challenge them, or shout at them in the hopes that they would start something with me, which again I realized was dumb. But I'm one of those people who doesn't really think about the consequences of their actions when that happens. If someone's really pushing my buttons, I don't care if they swing at me. I'd probably care after the fact, but not before. I don't claim to be tough. I don't claim to be strong. But yeah. If someone pushes my buttons, look out, because you're gonna have a really angry person on your tail, so to speak, and I'm actually surprised that I've never been in a physical altercation. Uh, I know. Um, I'm actually surprised I've never had a real physical altercation. Given how this is the case, I guess that just goes to show that most people don't want to start fights. They're all just a bunch of hot air, and they'll talk to you, they'll say things to you, they'll act like they're tough, but they really don't want to do anything. Um, don't I dare what? Appreciate that. Yes, kitty cat, I know. We ran out of treats for my cat, and she's due to being so used to having treats, she's looking for them. Um, we ordered some. Well, my mom ordered some through Amazon. Uh, I don't know when they're gonna get here though, or if they're already here. Um, yeah, I know. Uh, luckily, now, I've known people who, well, I say known people. I only knew one. No, I only recall one person who was this way. Uh, he didn't like the way his ears and nose looked, because apparently he got made fun of for it. And he said that he was seriously considering getting plastic surgery done on his ears and nose so they wouldn't look that way anymore. Now, I may not see myself as the perfect example of what's the word? Not human, I guess human image. But I would never consider plastic surgery. I mean, obviously it's expensive, and it's also surgery that's not being done for health reasons. It's being done because you don't like the way you look. I think every one of us can find at least one thing we may not like about ourselves, physically speaking, but that does not mean there's anything wrong with you. The hardest thing for a person to do is to like themselves. It is. Say something nice about myself? Well, out of everyone no, I can't say that. That'd be a bit vain. Uh, I'm a great singer. Yep. I actually, and I didn't finish it. I need to get back to it. I made. Well, I would, but I'm a little worried about copyright. I've heard that if you sing uh, songs, or if there's any song being played, that it can be uh, flagged as copyright, and that would not be good. Um, well, no. There is that unfinished song of mine that exists as a two-parter in my shorts. I haven't finished it, but I really should. Um, Hold on a second. Now I'm very out of practice. I don't do the breathing techniques. I don't, there's a specific way to sing so that you don't sound nasally, so that your voice sounds clear, um, and strong. Um, so it's not going to sound professional at all. But I'll give you the first 3 to 4 lyrics. Blown away. We're trapped by the fire. We're blown away. Again, I really need to work at work on my voice. Thank you. What? What, professionally? If I knew how to do that, I would. In all honesty, I would turn this channel into that. If I knew how best to get the word out, how best to share. I mean, I guess I could ask people here if they would share the videos and get me more views and things like that. I've tried asking people I know to do the same. They don't seem to be interested in doing so. Um, but yeah. I suspect that if I actually finished writing the lyrics for that song and sang a completed song, that things might actually start happening. I'm not sure what that means, strawberry. By the way, if I could ask, is that a picture of you on your pic there? See, if I didn't have to worry about copyright, there's songs that I would sing. Oh, nice. Like, for example, when September ends, um, Bohemian Rhapsody, um, I I took a class in middle school. It was a music major class. It was a singing class. And you would get projects. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think we learned how to play the guitar too, as part of it. And our final exam, if you will, or was it a final exam, or was it just one of the projects we were asked to do, where we performed a song of our choice, um, and you could either do it using an instrumental uh, copy of the song, or you could play an instrument. So for my song, I went with Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers. I am not part of a music group, but I would love to be. Um, one of my biggest dreams was to have a music career. Um, Problem is, the genre of music that I would want to have, that I would want to specialize in, is one that don't think I could do, and that's metal. That's probably my favorite genre. Um, anyway, sorry for that right now. Ooh, but yeah. So I went with Under the Bridge, and my stepfather, instead of making a CD of that song without the lyrics or finding an instrumental version of it, decided to play the song on his guitar, and he recorded that. And so when I performed it, I sang to that. Luckily, though, if you make your own stuff, it's even harder for that. I almost did a parody version. I'm sure you know that song by Kid Rock, "Ball with the Ball." I was gonna do a parody of that using lyrics that make fun of MAGA and JD Vance, but I didn't do it because um I was gonna do it, but opted not to because I couldn't. That would require me to listen to the song, and I refuse to listen to anything from Kid Rock anymore, so long as he's still around, because that's basically supporting the other side, and I can't do that. Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna do that, you probably want to have a lawyer. And I realize that lawyers are not something that many people can afford, but at least with a lawyer, you have a fighting chance. As long as they're actually good at their job. What I mean by good is not morally. I'm talking about whether they're capable of winning cases or not. At the end of the day, they'll take any case if they get paid for it. Funny thing is, my cousin's actually going into law school. Um, he wasn't going to because of the fact that even if you make it through law school, there are no guarantees that you'll get that you'll become a lawyer. Um, but that's what he's doing. He worked. I forget who it was. He worked for a local politician from my state. I forget who it was, and I forget what office it was. I wouldn't know. I think he got in on scholarship. But, and not to, say anything too private here, but my they may not be rich, but my aunt and uncle, they can probably afford to send him. Most politicians, yes. I wouldn't say all. I truly do believe, and no one will ever convince me that this is not the case, that if Kamala Harris had been president, she would have easily been one of the best presidents we ever had. Not based on opinion, based on fact. Like, I'm sure there's been better. He probably is. Most times when a person is seemingly playing dumb, they are dumb. And I don't see any way. I don't see how it's possible for Ted Cruz to say such nonsense and not believe it. You can tell whether or not a person believes the things they're saying based on their mannerisms and based on the tone of voice. There are ways to tell. So, like, anytime you see someone on Fox News, I think some of them actually do believe the stuff they say. Like Glenn Beck, for example, definitely believes the things he says. I mean, my grandfather used to watch Fox News all the time, and he loved Glenn Beck. He thought he was hilarious, and I'll be honest. While there's a lot of craziness, his show was, if it wasn't for the fact that he was trying to claim all that stuff he was talking about is real, he would have been a great comedian. But I mean, yeah. Look, the sad reality is that humanity is always going to have an ethics problem. You're never going to get rid of that. Maybe if humanity was able to last 1,000,000 years, evolution may actually um, phase that out. But I don't think that's happening. This is going to sound a little too doom and gloom, but Trump winning a second term more or less killed any faith I had in humanity. And I recognize that there's other countries and you know, they don't do the same thing, but there's even people in other countries that like him. And I just don't get that. I don't think we need to get rid of sports. I think what we need to do is we need to get rid of how do I want to say this? We need to bring back um, sportsmanship, or we need to bring back. Why can't I think of the word? We need to make sports credible again. Because it's now pretty almost. I would imagine almost all of it is gambling nowadays. But yeah, if you could get rid of that, then there'd be absolutely no problem with sports. Um, I look. I'm saying this as somebody who doesn't even like sports. If you're gonna get rid of something, I don't. I'm not trying to suggest this is why you're saying this, but if you want to get rid of something because it's a if you want to get rid of something because it's a distraction, I would say get rid of every single TV show that is not sports. It's not the sports themselves which are the problem, it's the way in which they make money. Uh, yeah, I've never been pro streaming service. What I'll always tell people is while things while streaming services may seem like an alternative to television, may seem cheaper, what they don't realize is that slowly over time they've been raising their prices. And they'll take shows off. They'll take movies off. It might not happen all the time. It might not even happen most of the time. But it can and will happen. And that's a way for them to control you, because then they start purchasing the rights to shows that are only displayed on their services. It takes away the person's choice, um, and in that sense, I would argue it infringes on freedom. Um, yep, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with making money. There is, however, something wrong with um, there is something wrong with making money at the expense of someone. Of course, it wouldn't be that big of a deal if people were earning a living wage, if people were being paid enough to live off of. And by live off of, I mean live well enough. Have enough money to afford a home, have enough money to afford a car, have enough money to afford necessities. Then it wouldn't matter as much. But that's a dream. And like George Carlin said, it's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. Uh, I have no clue. I honestly couldn't tell you. I realize that's not possible, but if we had another means by which people could get around and they didn't need cars to do so, that would really help. Um, that to me was one of the. Well, he says that as a rich person who never had to work a day in his life. Um, and everything was handed to him. So for him to tell people to get a job when you never had to work a hard day in your life, um, is not just hypocritical; it's despicable. I have a lot more respect for those who were rich that actually did earn their fortune. Doesn't mean that, they shouldn't be criticized when they're not doing good things with that money. But they at least have some shred of decency. Um, Maybe not all the time, but I like to think some of the time. And Trump didn't earn that money. He took millions that was given to him and just grew it. He didn't start from the ground up. If he had started from the ground up, he would actually have been a pretty good he would have actually been a great businessman, like he tries to make, like he wants people to believe, and there'd be no tariffs. There'd be no problems with the economy. Uh, yeah, it depends on what you mean by harming someone else in the process. And I don't. I mean, I know a millionaire personally, but they definitely didn't earn their money ethically. What do you mean by men and women sports? What do you mean by men and women's hobbies? Do you mean actual men and women's hobbies? I don't understand what you mean by that. Because I don't want to assume that you mean what I think you mean. And even if that is a problem, it's not something we should be worried about. Predicating a candidacy off of trans women playing in women's sports and trans men playing in that sort of thing. It's like, even if that was somehow a problem, there are far bigger fish to fry. We're not trying to be perfect because we can't be perfect. We're trying to take care of everyone as best as we possibly can. And I know people try to say, "Oh, well, they believe this stuff because they're uneducated." Nonsense. I'm not a college graduate. I barely made it through high school, and I know all this stuff to be complete and utter to be total nonsense. I'm not a genius. So no, I don't want to hear that they're uneducated malarkey. Because there's uneducated people who have enough sense to know that saying that certain people are stealing their jobs just does not smell right. Um, but yeah, please be more specific with what you said. Well, you know, most of for the most part, a majority of the most successful people did it by taking the easy way. They didn't want to put work. They didn't want to put in the effort. I don't know. I mean, hey, we we seem to have this belief that humanity is somehow um universally good, and that's just never been the case. Look at how many times you'll hear that during Black Friday, people will get trampled or pushed because people were trying to get their hands on some item. Look at how many people drive dangerously. They don't obey the speed limit. They're in a rush to get somewhere, and they run the risk of crashing into someone or killing someone. That's a significant amount of the population. I mean, I wouldn't want to hear about that either, but that's because it really shouldn't be the place to talk about such things. But yeah, I don't know where this come, my pretty. Hello, Kaylee. By the way, that is a very beautiful horse in your picture. Is that your horse, or is that a horse that you saw or took a picture of? Of course, I know the Wicked Witch of the West. Very, very, very pretty. If you would not mind my saying so. Well, Dixie is Dixie male or female? I'm not sure why you're gonna block me, but okay. Well, she's very pretty. My uncle, his daughter-in-law, actually owns and runs a horse farm, and she's competed in those what do they call them? Not horse jumping competitions. I don't know the exact name for it, but yeah, she's competed in those competitions before. She's won ribbons and trophies. Uh, and her husband runs a business where I think he both repairs and builds ships, like sailboats and things like that. I don't know. It's the one where the horse jumps over little fences and things like that. Yes, I know of Winn Dixie. I don't know if I've ever seen the movie, but I know Winn Dixie is a chain of grocery stores in Florida. At least I think it's a chain. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't know what barrel racing is. Well, I will definitely be checking your channel out because that sounds interesting. Oh, okay. Well, then I haven't seen Winn Dixie. I don't know why I was thinking of a dog movie. Hello, Ethan. How's it going? Yeah, I thought Winn Dixie was the name of a dog. The only horses that I can think of right now are Mr. Ed, Spirit, uh, and that's it. I can't think of any other. Well, no. What was that one about? It's going all right, Ethan. Um, what was the name of that movie with Tobey Maguire where he played a jockey, a horse jockey? Um, I know that wasn't there a movie called The Secretariat or something? I honestly can't remember. Very cool. Going for a ride? I had an opportunity to ride a horse once, but I chickened out. I couldn't even get on the horse. It took me like 30 minutes to get on the horse, and I was freaking out the whole time. That's probably the one I'm thinking of. Well, thank you, Uma. Um, I kind of see horses, and I don't know if horse lovers would take this to sound offensive, but I kind of see horses as big dogs. That's not me trying to insult horses. It's just you know like the relationship that humans have with horses is very similar to that of humans and dogs. My grandfather would actually say, and I agree with this, that dog is not man's best friend. Horses are man's best friend. And it actually makes a lot of sense. Because not only, because for one, they were how people got around. Um, for quite some, for what was it, centuries. And, the bonds that a person can form with a horse. Um, I think they're one of the prettiest animals on the planet, horses. But then again, I say that about a lot of animals. I say that about birds. I say that about deer, um, especially elk. If you've ever heard the sound an elk makes, it's literally music. Um, yeah, there's very few animals that I don't like. What do you mean by similar? There, in terms of size, there's a huge difference. Now they're from the same. I don't know if it's genus or family, but they're all part of the same group, so to speak. Like reindeer, elk, um, any kind of deer, moose. They're all related in some way. I did see a moose once, not close up, but it was pretty big. Um, yes, I have seen Rocky and Bullwinkle. There's a lot of shows that predate my existence, which I've seen. Some of them are even among my favorites. I actually prefer older television and movies to what's out nowadays. Like, for example, my favorite movie is The Godfather. That was out before I was born. Um, what did it come out in like the 70s? Um, I really like Dick Van Dyke. Uh, his sitcom is one of my favorites, the one that's named after him. I really like the show Bonanza. Um, Who's Lawrence Welk? Oh, is that the narrator for Twilight Zone? I can't say anything about him personally because I never knew the man. I've heard here and there people say that he wasn't that good of a person. Other people saying that he was a great person. But I'll give Michael Landon a lot of credit for the characters that he played, and that one show of his called Highway to Heaven had a lot of good morals. Um, I don't know if he actually believed in that and practiced what he preached, but you know, whether you're religious or not, in my view, Highway to Heaven is a show that everybody should watch because it teaches compassion. It teaches being better and caring for your fellow person. Yeah, so Highway to Heaven is about an angel named Jonathan who's played by Michael Landon, and he's sent on a mission from God to basically help people. Um, the first episode involves him going to a nursing home and helping them to figure out a way to keep the nursing home because it was about to close down for some reason, or it was going to be sold off. And he also meets the second main character in the series, who is a former cop, um, named Mark. I don't remember his last name. Um, and Mark hasn't had a job in a long time. He's basically had no purpose. He drinks beer all the time. Uh, and upon meeting Jonathan and helping him out in that assignment and learning that he's an angel, he decides that he wants to become a part of that. He has nothing, going on in his life. He doesn't really have any responsibilities. He wants to help people, and you know, it's a great feel good show. Although there are some sad episodes. Um, like the second episode is about um, a mother and a son, and the son has some kind of cancer. And her son's father was an astronaut. And the episode also features a kid who doesn't have parents and he's constantly getting into trouble. His grandmother doesn't want him anymore because of that fact. Um, and what ends up happening is that that other kid gets introduced to the boy that has cancer, and they become friends. And uh, basically what's going to happen is that the mother is going to take that kid in, and pretty much raise him as like a second son. But it's a really sad episode. Um, well, hi there. I stand with people from Estonia. I hope things are going well with you for you. I wish I could find a way to watch every episode of Little House on the Prairie because that's one that I've seen some episodes from, but not all. But anyway, yeah. Like I said, in my opinion, um, don't tell me. It'll come to me. Half pint. But yeah, like I said, I know nothing about Michael Landon personally. He might not have been the way that he appeared on screen, but if he was even 50% like the characters he played, he must have been a really stand-up guy. You're talking about the dog that they thought drowned in the movie, right? Um, God, I can't remember. Jack, that's right. Yeah. I also became a fan of this medical drama from the. I guess it would have been like the 80s to possibly early 90s. Um, Starring Pernell Roberts. I do not. Um, yeah. I couldn't even tell you the wife's name. You might find this funny, but when I was growing up, a show that I used to like watching on TV whenever it was on TV, and if I'm remembering correctly, I'd make a big deal out of it. Was Knight Rider. Um, I was really into Knight Rider. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's one of my favorite series, because as I've gotten older, my favorite series uh has changed. Um, like, because for me, a favorite show has to be something you've seen all the way through. And there aren't many shows that I've seen all the way through. Um, like, the only show I can tell you off the top of my head that I know for a fact I've seen every single episode from is Breaking Bad. Um, I do vaguely remember that. You may not. You. I'm not sure if you'd know the name of this actor, but if you've ever seen the movie True Lies, one of the characters in that movie is played by somebody who was in Grace Under Fire. The neighbor, I want to say. And I can never, I just never knew this actor's name. But yeah, True Lies, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he's a spy, and on his team he has this chubby guy with glasses. Um, I'm pretty sure I haven't seen every episode of Roseanne, and now I definitely won't watch every episode of Roseanne because now I know who Roseanne is in real life. Um, oh, speaking of sitcoms, did you know that Family Matters is coming back? I liked to watch that as a kid. Family Matters. I mean, I really like Fresh Prince of Bel Air too, but yeah, I was surprised to see that. I think I think the first episode for fresh for the new I guess they'd call it a revival of Family Matters that's supposed to air sometime in September. That was a pleasant surprise. I wonder if Urkel's still going to sound like Urkel, or if they're going to say, "Oh, well, he's an adult now, so he doesn't have that same voice." Um, I didn't. I don't think I haven't really seen much with. I don't know the actor who plays Carl in Family Matters, but because the only three things I've seen him in were two Die Hard movies and Family Matters. Um, but it seems like he gets typecast as a cop a lot. Um, I wonder why that is. Who knows? Maybe he was a cop at one point and then became an actor. Oh yes, the Wonder Years. I saw a movie with what was yeah, the kid that plays Kevin. I saw a movie with him in it, and it stars Judge Reinhold. Um, and it's called Vice Versa. And in the movie, it's about a father and son, and they switch places. It's basically Freaky Friday, but it's a father and son. Um, yep, yep. He played Neil. um, Speaking of this of Santa Claus, which was one of my uh, grandfather and mine's favorite movies. We'd watch it even when it wasn't Christmas time, just because we liked it that much. Uh, Sadly, the second and the third one I think was pretty much garbage. The second one was eh. I don't know. I don't like it. I just feel like if they were gonna do sequels, they could have put more effort into it and made it more similar to the first. No, it was Tom Hanks that voices Woody. You're thinking of Buzz. Yep, like that one a lot. What made it real funny is so funny is for me, slapstick is a form of comedy that I pretty much always laugh at. Verbal humor is hit and miss. Although I do personally find older series to be funnier to me than newer ones. I don't care for any the new shows. I could not stand Big Bang Theory. And I did not care for Two and a Half Men. Um, yeah, for me, when it comes to sitcoms, it's Bewitched, it's I Dream of Jeannie. Those two are probably really up there for me. Then there's Seinfeld. Then there's I do like Happy Days. Um, and there's also No, he was not. You're thinking of Married with Children. That is a show that I like. Married with Children. And then he would later go on to be in Modern Family. Um, but yeah, I just didn't like anybody in Big Bang. I Dream of Genius. I would make the argument that it's the funniest of those three. Um, yeah. She I don't remember her name, but she looks like she's every time I see her in something, I feel like she's gonna come right at me with a knife or something. And I know that's awful to say because she could, for all I know, be the nicest person. But when she plays characters, they give me this like psycho vibe. I haven't heard her voice in a long time, so I'll take your word for it. You know who I feel would be really good as like the star of a sitcom? Danny Trejo. I mean, I'm sure he's been in comedies before, but he plays the bad guy so often. But when you see like interviews, you see him outside of movies, he seems like he seems like one of the nicest people. Um, let's see, Danny Trejo was the star of those Machete movies. Uh, he was in Spy Kids. Uh, I can't think of any other movies he's been in. But I guarantee you that if you looked them up right now, you'd know you'd recognize them. It's a shame it's a shame I don't live in California because he's got a taco place that I would really love to try. We don't have any good Mexican restaurants around here. What are you talking about? You talking about dubbing? Like when they dub the voices over with English with English native English speaking voices. Okay. Yeah, he's not like a big time celebrity, but I mean, hey, he must be doing well for himself because okay. Well, you're not gonna know everyone. I would hope so. I would hope that they would do that. So, as far as being in other states, I've been to because I live in Pennsylvania. I've been to um, Idaho, but what I mean by been to is I've either stopped at or seen some attraction from. So Idaho, Utah, um, North Dakota. Uh, Actually spent a decent amount of time in North Dakota. I got to see the Crazy Horse monument. Um, Mount Rushmore, of course. I have no idea what you're referring to. Um, who you're referring to. Wyoming was definitely my most favorite. Was definitely my favorite part of that trip because Yellowstone is a place that I think everybody should see at least once. Um, I've also been to Gettysburg. I mean, I know that Gettysburg's in Pennsylvania, is it not? I could be mistaken. That was all right. I didn't care for that trip as much as I did the other one. But Wyoming is a sight to behold. I think if I had the opportunity to travel to one country, it would probably be Japan. I personally would never go to Alaska, but that's because I know that Sarah Palin lives there. No, thank you. Or lives there slash with the governor. Yeah, that's pretty much the only way I would ever consider it. Is is by way of a cruise, which I'll never be able to afford, but it is what it is. I thought you were gonna say I'd love to visit Alaska on an iceberg, and I was like, wow. Isn't that on the History Channel or something? You know, the channel that hasn't been about actual history for a long time because they do these stupid reality TV shows. I'm sorry if you like that show, but to me that sounds lame. I just don't. Hey, Kelly. Welcome back. Welcome back. What about them? Thank you for saying that, Kelly. Kaylee. I don't know why I almost called you Callie. I think Callie was one of the names we considered giving my cat because Calico. Welcome back, Cotter. Wasn't John Travolta in that? That's the one where the line "up your nose with a rubber hose" comes from. I think. Oh, that one. Yeah, he was a traveling salesman. I like that one. When it comes to me in movies, I'm not really a movie buff. I guess it depends on my mood or if there's someone around to watch movies with. I don't really watch movies by myself. Yeah, I don't remember much about that movie. Wasn't it based on a true story? Like, wasn't the character that he played an actual person who had once lived and did all that? Another proud Philadelphia, but Pennsylvanian, Will Smith. I feel that I have the right to claim him as one of ours. Well, of course. Well, based on is most times loosely, not uh, you know, like you fabricate things. where you change things entirely because you don't think that it would be uh, worthy of being in a movie, or you dramatize it, which is one of the reasons why I hated Bohemian Rhapsody. Absolutely despise that movie. Instead of making a neat movie about the band Queen and how they got established and all that stuff, and ended up turning into a movie that was basically um oh um Freddie Mercury has AIDS, and we're gonna make a bulk of this movie be about the fact that he's got an illness now, and I just felt as though that was just disrespectful to his memory. Like, even if, like, I don't care who you are, that's just disgusting to do that. I understand that the man, had that illness and unfortunately died as a result of having it, but still, like, come on. One of the greatest musicians of all time. And you decide that instead of the movie just being about their music and how they came up with all the songs, you're gonna bring that into it. I also didn't like the actor they chose for him. Nothing against that actor. It's just I they could have found somebody who can actually sing and can actually play the role, not just look the part somewhat. Well, I'd imagine HIPAA laws are not a thing once a person has already passed, but I think you should at least respect the memory of that person. Um, it's just it to me it's just indecent to me. Oh, I'm sure they do. You know, I'm surprised somebody hasn't done a Billy Joel movie yet, because they already did Elton John, which I didn't see. Although I I heard, this might just be a rumor, but I heard that Elton John specifically picked Taron Egerton to play him in that movie. I don't know if he had any more involvement in that film's development, but I think I did hear that Elton John, like, by picked, I don't mean that he, actually said choose him or else. No, I'm saying uh more along the lines of he gave his opinion on who should play him, and that's who they ended up choosing. But yeah, I'm very surprised there hasn't been a Billy Joel movie yet. The last one I knew about them doing was Elvis. Whatever the name of that one was I couldn't tell you. But I really want to see. Well, you know what? No, I won't say that I want to see, because that Bohemian Rhapsody movie really left a bad taste on my mouth. So in the past, I might have said, "Oh, I'd love to see an Ozzy Osbourne movie or a Black Sabbath movie. Oh, I'd love to see a Red Hot Chili Peppers movie, and this and that, but not anymore. Not if they're gonna do them dirty and not make the movie actually about the people and make it entertaining too. Don't make it overly dramatic. I might have even at one point said I'd love to see a movie about System of a Down, but not anymore. Speaking of System of a Down, I really wanted to go see them in concert this year because they're apparently going to be performing in August in New Jersey. But oh well. Hmm. I mean, speaking of, well, I don't know. I don't know if he constitutes as a celebrity, but I can think of one news anchor who never needed that money. Anderson Cooper. Because even if his family isn't worth the same amount that they once were, I'm sure they should still be somewhat influential. Wolf Blitzer, is he a CNN anchor too? I assume we're thinking of the same person. I cannot believe that I unplugged my charging cable. I don't know what made possessed me to do that. It's not like I could plug it in downstairs. By in Iraq, I assume you don't mean he was like in the Army, Marines, or something. You mean that he was reporting on it. I know. Wasn't Geraldo also in? in Iraq. See, I don't watch much news. I don't even watch local news. Ah. My God, I love how I said I wasn't gonna go for as long, and the stream is not far off from 2 hours. um, Darkness in the moon will shine on down, evaporate the clouds, and help us not feel down. Okay. Gotcha. Magic Jack, is that like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds? Which nobody can tell me that that song is not about LSD. That Beatles song. That has to be what it's about. What about Lucille Ball? Did I seriously? What did I seriously say? Lucy. Never mind. Yeah, but Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds again. LSD. That's what it makes you think of. I mean, you have your more obvious. You have songs that are more obvious about it, like "Cocaine" from Eric Clapton and "Under the Bridge," which we all know what that's about. It was a huge shocker to me when I found out what Under the Bridge is actually about. What the lyrics, Under the bridge downtown is where I drew some blood, meant. It goes from being a catchy tune that you find entertaining to being downright dark and depressing. Um, what about that song? The funny thing is, I don't like country at all, but that is the one country song that I do like. I don't know what all this means. Are you just mentioning songs and entertainers that you're fond of, or does that have to do with drugs? Wow, voice crack, voice cracks up the wazoo in this here. I don't know, rambling. Not just rock. Probably a vast majority of music groups and solo artists have dabbled in drugs at least at one point in their careers. I'd be very surprised if there was anyone who never did drugs, like literally. And by drugs, I don't mean like cigarettes, even though those are drugs. I'm talking about what you would commonly associate with being addicted to. Um, Not that kind of drug. There's also some health benefits to drinking coffee. There are absolutely no benefits to the other kind of drugs, other kinds of drugs. Yeah, but I'm talking. Yeah, but that's not the same thing. Like yes, if we look at it that way, anything you can have a fondness for could be seen as a drug. A husband and or wife could be seen as a drug, going by that logic. All right. Um, yeah, over 2 hours. Not sure if anyone else is watching here. Please feel free to comment, ask a question, say hi. Feel free. Um, well, unfortunately, you're never gonna get what you want. The only way that's gonna happen is if you manage to become rich. Then you'll have no worries. Well, okay, you'll have no worries as far as being able to take care of yourself goes. Jeez, pardon me for yawning. I don't know where that came from. I don't want free drugs. I want no drugs. Well, unless we're talking about medication. That I think should be free. Of course, if they put their money towards cures and gave those instead of medication, that they make money off of, actually cure the people, actually prevent illness, actually reverse illnesses, that sort of thing. Um, you know, have a more productive society. People can live longer. But I guess there's no profit in life. Okay. Well, it's legal for now, but I doubt that'll stay. I doubt that'll be the case forever. The way I'm looking at things, I mean, just look at how bad things have gotten in 6 months. I bet you can't even imagine how much worse it's gonna get in even 4 or 5 more. And people keep saying, "Oh, we only have 4 years. Only have 4 years." Well, a lot happens in 4 years. Sometimes it's good. In this case, it's pretty much all bad. Yep. And it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and we keep hitting new lows. I wouldn't be surprised if people who would say that, oh, the times of Reagan are the worst ever, looking back, they'd be like, that was a paradise compared to what we're going through now. I would even take President Bush over this one. Hey, look who it is. How's it going? At the beginning of the stream, I kind of, shall we say, advertise what you and I are going to be getting up to. I doubt many people are gonna watch these streams after the fact because they're not particularly entertaining, and it's usually just me and one person having a back and forth. But you know, once we get that rolling, I'll do an advertisement of some kind. I mean, maybe I'm just a weirdo because I like to watch live streams, not my own, but other people's. Uh, that's true. 5 likes. Thank you kindly. People don't censor me. I've never had that happen. I'm not sure what you've said that's gotten you censored. Uh at least I can't remember that having happened to me. Some people are strict when it comes to their rules of engagement, but a lot of people I feel are not that way. Oh, okay. Well, I guess just be careful with what channels you take part in, engage with. I used to watch. You may have heard about these two channels. You may have heard of. You may have heard of. You may have heard of Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers. Yeah, I used to watch them, and then I realized how they stand politically, and then I was like, "Yep, I'm done with you. You guys are insane." Yeah, censorship is nonsense. All good, all good. Hey, just stopping by and saying hi and leaving a like. He's perfect. Never feel as though you have to be here. I mean, it's not like I'm. It's not like it's not like you're getting paid. Obviously, I'm not getting paid either, but I just do this as a way to kill time and get rid of boredom. Oh, okay. He's responding to what I said. How you doing, by the way? Yeah, you. Hope everything's going well. Hello to the 3 viewers. If anyone is a newcomer, it's great to hear. I have no idea what you wrote. Couldn't even tell you what language that is. Yeah, I would prefer it if you didn't say things like that in the chat. It's also disrespectful to people that might be that might be no, that's not why people don't write. Lightstar had posted something that I would have preferred not to be said here. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really care what anybody says about America. We haven't really given the world a legitimate reason to say nice things about us. Been acting like a bunch of proud ignoramuses. And not just now, but for a long time. I think there's good reason for a lot of countries to hate our guts, especially now. At least some of the hate's warranted. Alrighty. Catch you later. On that note, folks, I'm gonna end it here. Actually went on for longer than I had intended to. I gotta get myself ready. Got company coming by. Appreciate all of you for stopping by, hanging out, leaving a like, whole shebang. Until the next one, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.